Hello there ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another one of my OldSchool RuneScape bossing guides. My name is Demorja and today I will be showing you a very low risk way of killing Spindel, one of the new single plus wilderness bosses. If you've missed my first guide for the Phantom Muspa, I will have a link to that video in the top corner right now. Be sure to take a look. I want to very quickly thank all of you for the great support I've received on my last video. I've gained a ton more subscribers than I would ever have hoped for, so a big thank you to all of you. Right, that's it for the introduction, let's get right into the guide. We get straight into the 3 plugins that I strongly suggest you use for Spindel, which are the NPC Indicator, Player Indicator and the Tile Indicator plugins. Be sure to have Highlight Through Tile enabled for yourself in the Tile Indicator plugin and for NPCs in the NPC Indicator plugin. Also, make sure you put Spindel and Spindel Spindling into the text box so they will get highlighted. For Player Indicators you can enable a Highlight Other, which will make every other player have a red name above them in-game and on the minimap, which makes it easier to spot PK'ers. Next up is my gear and inventory. I'm using an Abyssal Bludgeon with high crush bonus gear, since Spindel is weak to crush. The Proselyte armor and climbing boots are cheap and give decent prayer and strength bonuses. I only kill Spindel on Slayer tasks, so the Slayer helmet is a must have for me. If you want to kill Spindel off task, you can swap out a cheap piece of gear for a more expensive piece with a high crush bonus. Just be sure you only have 4 expensive items in total. My inventory is pretty straightforward. Stamina is to counter the run energy loss in case you get caught in a web or have to escape a PK'er, 8 brews and 8 blighted super restores. The brews are mostly used for tanking PK'ers and I very rarely use them during my kills. The blighted super restores are cheaper than normal restores and are mostly used for prayer, not so much for restoring your stats. I bring 6 pieces of the highest healing food, in this case tuna potatoes, a looting bag and a one-click teleport which I can use above level 20 wilderness. I use my normal food to heal during and in between kills and normally can replenish my food quite easily from the Spindel drops. This is the amount I'm risking at the moment in this gear, as long as I have protect item enabled. As you can see, it's not even 200k and that is without having used a single supply. However, as you can see here, the risk increases to over 1.3 mil when I don't have protect item enabled. Keeping your prayer above 0 is more important than keeping your health above 0 in this setup. If you're running low on super restores, be sure to bank and get new ones. And if you're getting chased by a PK'er, it's better to die with protect item on, instead of trying to survive and end up dying without prayer in the end. Alright, time for some action. Let's take a look at how I get to Spindel, how to find an empty cave and how to easily hop worlds in case you run into a full cave. We start off getting our inventory ready and eating an anglerfish to overheal. I teleport to Varrock's Enclave using my ring of dueling and go to the northern exit. There's a PK'er waiting, so I quickly hop worlds and continue my way to Spindel. While I'm running north to the cave entrance, I would like to show off my new subscribe notification and ask you all for a few seconds of your time to click that subscribe button down below. You guys have already far exceeded my previous subscriber goal, so again many thanks for that and a big welcome to any new subscribers. As we get closer to the cave, we take a look at our minimap to see if there's any people outside the cave. I noticed my player indicator plugin wasn't turned on, so I turn it on and also show you the world hopper plugin on the screen. With this plugin it's a lot easier to hop worlds quickly, which enables you to hop worlds within the cave as well. If you have more than 20 Spindel kills, you can simply peek into the cave to see if it's full or not. I happen to run into an empty cave straight away, but for the purpose of this guide I will hop into a full world to show you how easily you can check for an empty cave even if you don't have the 20kc yet. As you can see, after I peek into the cave I get the message that there's activity inside. If you don't have the peek ability, you can simply go in, see if someone is fighting Spindel, and as long as you don't get hit, you can instantly world hop while being in the cave. This results in you being teleported outside the caves and saves you the time of having to run through the cave to reach the exit. After I hop back to the empty world, I go into the cave, put on protect from missiles and start my Spindel kill. This was already a half dead Spindel, so I will cut to the respawning of Spindel so you can see a full kill in action. When Spindel spawns, you want to put in your quick prayers, which should be protect from melee and piety, and attack the big spider as it's coming down from the ceiling. Be sure that once Spindel touches the ground, you are right next to him, else he will hit you with range instead of melee. As long as your own true tile indicator is touching Spindel's true tile indicator, you are fine. Spindel starts out in his range phase. During this phase he will attack 8 times in 2 intervals of 4 attacks. As long as you stay right next to him, however, he will not hit you with ranged or magic attacks and will only use melee. At the start of his range phase he will summon 2 spiderlings. These small spiders drain your prayer with every hit and can sometimes damage you through prayer. You will always one-hit these spiders and should kill them as soon as possible. I always try to right-click the spiderlings so that I can kill them instantly when they are within melee range because they have a pretty small hitbox. If you want, you can bring throwing knives or darts to switch to for an even faster way of killing them from a distance, but I normally just melee them once they are close. If you choose to melee as well, be sure to keep an eye on your distance to Spindel and run with the big spider if he's moving in order to avoid getting hit by his ranged attacks. After After 8 hits from the boss, he switches to his mage phase. Again, as long as you're right next to him, he will not hit you with his mage attack and will keep using melee only. This phase also lasts 8 hits, divided in 2 sets of 4. On his third attack, Spindel will shoot a web along with its attack. This attack causes quite a substantial area of the floor to be covered in webs, which deals a lot of damage every tick and drains your run energy as well. The main purpose of this guide is to teach you how to place this web in such a position that you will not be bothered by it for the rest of the fight. Spindel's web attack is aimed to your true tile position at the moment his third attack in his mage cycle goes off. By utilizing this, we can place ourselves in a position close to a corner to minimize the amount of room being covered by the web. As you can see in this slowdown footage, Spindel repositions after his 8th range attack, so we know the web is coming 3 hits after he repositions. By moving towards the side of the room after his second hit, we position ourselves in such a way that the web covers an area of the room where we will not likely be bothered by it. Once he uses his web attack, we simply move to the other side of Spindel and continue attacking. Here you can see how true tile indicators make it easier to dodge the badly placed webs on the floor. Spindel's true tile indicator moves over the web before his actual image does, giving us time to react and click away from the webs. If you happen to get an expensive drop, for example these onyx bolt tips worth nearly twice as much as our current risk, I usually go straight to the bank and store them. Remember, we're trying to do Spindel as risk-free as possible, so why increase our risk when we can easily bank and resupply very quickly? Of course it is possible we lose our world within the time it takes us to bank and run back, but as I will show you in this clip, you can be back into Spindel's cave in as little as 2 minutes. Simply use your one-click teleport, bank your loot from your looting bag, resupply and teleport to the Ferrex Enclave with your ring of jeweling. We run straight out from the north entrance and go back to the cave, where we see no one has stolen our spot and we're right back onto killing Spindel. The biggest risk when killing Spindel are of course the PK'ers. With a lot of people not having a 20k seed to peek into the cave yet, you have quite a lot of people enter your cave and looking for an empty world. But how do you know if the person entering your cave is just a friendly passerby or someone with a small PP trying to rob you of your less than 200k risk? As you can see here, someone enters my cave with gear that most people use to kill Spindel. Anytime I see someone enter in this sort of gear, so with a crawls or a web weaver bow or with an abyssal bludgeon, I just stay in the cave and continue my kill. The few times I have ran into PK'ers, they always entered my cave while being already skulled, which of course is the biggest giveaway that they're after your life. As you might have already spotted during the previous clips, I try to hover my mouse above the one-click teleport as much as I can, since the easiest way to escape a PK'er is simply by teleporting right out. I am terrible at PvP, I don't have a setup with me to anti-PK, and I will much rather avoid a fight altogether than having to tank and run for my life. The PK'ers entering the cave will always have a few ticks of delay after entering, so as long as you instantly click the teleport when you see someone with a skull enter your cave, you should be fine. If you do get teleblocked however, I normally try to get out of the cave to avoid being hit by both Spindel and the PK'er. As you can see on the wilderness map, we exit at the web chasm, which is around level 29 wilderness. A few steps to the right you have the multi-combat area. This can either help you or make you die even faster, but if you're certain you're going to die anyway, if you keep on tanking the solo PK'er, it's worth a shot running into the area and hope someone is there to help you. Dropping a fake luring message by typing "I got one, running to multi right now" might also be worth a shot. If you happen to drop combat for a few seconds, the Corporeal Beast Cave is a possible way to escape, although not a very likely one. You can also try to enter the skeletal tombs and hope that the PK'er gets thrown off your scent and you are able to escape him, or you can try to use one of the obelisks around the area to teleport yourself and hopefully leave the PK'er behind. Lastly, if you make it to the Ferrex Enclave, you can try and outlast the teleblock right over here. If you were for some reason playing mage when you got teleblocked, it might have already run out, since it only lasts for 2.5 minutes. Your last resort is simply running all the way back to the wilderness ditch. However, you will need a lot of food for tanking a PK'er all the way. Be sure you always have protect item enabled, and if you have more than enough resource left, also use overhead prayers and augury, since that prayer also increases your magic defense by 25%, meaning you will get caught less with freezes or entangles. But once again, keeping prayer points and having protect item enabled is more important than staying alive. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope I made it a bit easier for people to get into killing Spindel. It's a lot of fun for barely any risk. Be sure to check out my other video about the Phantom Maspa, and please leave a like, comment or subscribe to my channel if you wish to see more content. Good luck killing Spindel, and I'll see you guys soon.